My name is John Street, and I'm a certified field investigator for MUFON in Indiana. I'm a level 3 investigator, which means I'm certified to investigate landings, abductions, any type of UFO activity in the state of Indiana, which is very interesting. I'm an ERT member, which stands for the Experience and Resource Team, which we investigate abductions and visitations from aliens, so-called aliens and such. So I'm part of that team, and I'm part of the MADAR team, which is actually based here in Indiana. Project MADAR is based in Newburgh, Indiana. It goes all over the world also, where people purchase these little electronic devices they plug into their wireless internet home, and it measures electromagnetic activity and compass changes in the area around your house. And if, in case there's a UFO sighting in your area, they use their database from that device to see if they can correlate any changes in electromagnetic fields or the compass or anything like that might correlate with UFO visitation. But that's currently actually in Indiana right now. That's where I started at, and the guy named I can't remember his name, but he's down in Newburgh, Indiana, and he runs it all over the country, and there's actually some in different countries too. And I think most of course, right now, most are in Indiana, and there are some that are in California. There's actually some at Skinwalker Ranch. They're using the recorder out there. So it's pretty interesting. Indiana's,
Where is that Skinwalker? I've heard of it a lot.
It's in Utah.
Utah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a very high activity place for UFOs. And of course, paranormal and other things. I mean, you name it, it's supposed to be there.
And it's one of the rare ones that the government has actually studied.
Yeah, exactly.
Far,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Project
as
NIDS.
far as the paranormal too, huh?
They won't release any info.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's
Yeah.
very secretive.
I think it was called NIDS. There's something something for Discovery Science. It was when Bob Bigelow ran it.
Yeah.
And they never released any information they got when they finished. And the new guy buys it now. And of course, they got the TV show on History Channel, which is pretty interesting if you ever get a chance to watch it.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I watch it every time I can try. I don't know if I go with it, but it is so interesting. I'm wondering. Well, as with ghosts as well, everybody who in here has a cell phone on their body?
Right, everybody.
Me?
There should be tons of photographs.
Right.
Tons of photographs and sounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Where are the pictures?
Oh, they're out there.
Do people send them to you?
Oh, yeah, we get plenty of pictures, yes.
How do they? Oh, I'm sorry. How do they do that? How do they get pictures to you?
When you file a report, actually, you can go on our website, MUFONofIndiana.com, and we have links to the regular MUFON site, the national site, which has links of how to report a UFO. And which you can go, like I said, you can go to our website, and we have links to it also. And they have a process where you fill out a form online, and you can submit your photos that you have with it. So we get quite a few photos, but some of them are, they're not very good photos because a lot of people don't know how to really take a good picture. They depend on the phone to do all the work, and the photographer has to do a lot of the work because with the new phones nowadays, they got the AI in them. And of course, you take something off in a distance like that, the AI in your phone, like the newer phones, wants to take over. It can't tell exactly what it's focused on, so it interprets it.
Or what
and that's
you
the
want.
picture you get.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
And a lot of people don't know how to take pictures. Like when you take a picture of something you think is a UFO, you want to get other things in the background like landscape or structures so you can get an idea of distance and speed. A lot of times you get a white dot in the sky in the middle of the night, there's no way you can tell what that is.
Yeah.
Especially when you zoom in because your phone's trying to autofocus on it and it can't focus. And you're taking pictures of it, it's really, really difficult. So that's one thing I encourage people to do, to be careful taking your pictures and just do the best you can at it and try to get some structures or skyline or trees in the picture with it to get an idea of size and distance and shape. And it really helps.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. How do you know if you take your camera and point it to the sky?
Exactly.
How big is that dot? How big is it?
Is a video better? Or does AI do that as well?
They do it in a video as well, yeah. You have to be careful because you're zooming in and out. A lot of people want to zoom in as close as they can to get closer to it, and actually it distorts the picture more than anything. You're better off taking a picture than blowing it up. Now, and the other thing a lot of people will do to us is they'll blow the picture up themselves, the object, and submit it with their report. Okay, I get the picture there, and there's several cases. One I saw 3 beautiful blue lights in a perfect triangle. Perfect. I said, man, that is very interesting. I said, can you please send me the original picture? And he sent me the original picture, and sure enough, it's in a parking lot. And over here on the side, it was dusk, because the picture of the UFO, the moon was over here. It was dusk, and the parking lot lights were on. It had a big pole sticking up, and a light over to the left with 3 lights on it. It was lens refraction. The lights from the street light, from the parking lot lights, reflected back on the lens, and it showed 3 blue lights in the sky. So he didn't see the object with his naked eye. He was taking pictures of the moon, and when he looked at the picture, he saw the 3 lights. We get a lot of that. Lens reflection.
I wish I had brought the picture. We had auroras here several weeks ago, and I took a bunch of pictures of that. I used to be a photographer in my other life, and good camera. It was beautiful auroras, and this evening I was looking at it, and I kept seeing this face in the sky, big. I wish I had brought it, but I didn't. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I'll send it to you. But took it down to Colleen, and she said, "Oh, you did that. You put that picture because she knew who it was." No, I didn't. I didn't do anything.
Yeah. Well, another no people taking pictures of an object when they're moving car. You know, I've had some. At least they'll roll the window down. That helps. You don't have any reflection from the glass. But sometimes I've had them taken through the windshield at nighttime. You know, it's just, you know, there's so many reflections at that time of night. Anything's going to reflect off that glass or lens.
Do they send you pictures?
If I request them, yeah.
Oh.
See, when a case is submitted to MUFON, they all go to MUFON's main headquarters. Then MUFON will send the cases to the state director wherever the state that sighting happens in. That state gets that case. And then the state director will, depending on who's available or who's not working on the case, or if it's an interesting case, the closest person, he will give that case to that person, and then that field investigator will investigate that case. And every case MUFON is given, everyone that sends one in, an investigator will contact them. Now, they got 3
Is that how the process normally starts,
Yeah.
John?
Yeah.
Do you guys ever scan the media and look for anything
no,
like that?
No. The only time we scan the media if we get a case and we weren't investigating it to see if anything else correlates with that case we have. Then we would scan the media to find similar cases or if anybody else has seen it.
What does an investigation really entail? I mean, where do you go once you have the report in?
Well, we got the report in. Then the first thing we do, we'll go through everything we can. Now, another thing what people don't tend to do that they need to do is exact time and dates. We got to have exact time and dates to do air traffic. So, because we use flight radar 24 and go historic flight radar 24, we can check all the aircraft. But we need we need exact date and almost an exact time to find correlations. If we don't have exact date and time, we can't do anything to figure out if it's an aircraft or not. We don't know. Then we do all the weather. We got the place called Weather Underground. Now all we have to do is put the date in the city or the zip code and punch that in the computer, and that pops up the weather on that day for every hour. It tells you the temperature, dew points, visibility, everything for that hour. We get all that information and put it on a report. Then we correlate the 5 nearest airports. We've got maps with airports around the whole state. We punch in our coordinates, GPS coordinates. It pulls up it pulls up all the airports probably within 40 or 50 miles, but we usually do about 15, 20 mile radius. We list all the airports in that area. There's several. Then we check. We got several applications we use for checking satellites in the area. ISS, International Space Station. That's quite a bit. We have different astronomical charts we use and on apps where you can actually, get on the app and move to their date and look at the sky and see exactly which stars and which planets were visible at that exact same time. That's why times and dates are very important on the reports. You get correlation of what, basically you're ruling out what it isn't. That's what we try to do. We try to, everything that we think it could be that's man-made or natural, we try to rule that out first. And once you get that still ruled out, then we can focus more on see if it's an unknown or not.
Okay.
Are you a ham radio operator by,
No,
by any chance?
no.
I am. You mentioned the ISS.
Yeah.
I actually talked with my ham gear
Oh, really?
to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they mentioned it on the news one evening that you'll be able to see it,
Yeah.
So I went out on my wife's deck upstairs on her second floor and put an external antenna on it, and just a handy talkie. And you could see them going by, and I called. I forget their call sign, what it is, but they came right back to me. They have, of course, they have to have a ham on the ISS.
Yeah.
There because, but that was exciting.
I bet it was. Get talking to an
I tried to
astronaut
read-
actually in space.
Yeah,
Right.
it's only like 6-7 minutes.
Yeah, I think it
And
travels
they're
like
gone, so-
it travels like 17,000 miles an hour. It's pretty fast.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's faster than my Jeep. Daggone it. I just thought I'd throw that in. That was pretty exciting.
It was-
I didn't believe him at first. I thought it was somebody down the road, but no, it was him. I didn't mean to interrupt. Mark, go ahead, buddy.
I don't know where I was going with that.
I wanted to ask
do
you
you-
something real quick.
Sure.
Most of the pictures that I've seen in media or magazines and this and that, they're grainy and they're not very well focused. Have you ever actually gotten some very clear pictures of something that you can't explain?
I've had a couple of them. Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
because there's like different identifications. We have like unknown, other, which would be like spherical stuff. We couldn't figure out what it was in the sky. Then we have actually unknown UAVs, unknown aerial vehicles that actually have shape to them. So there's several different classifications we do a disposition on a case.
Okay.
We got like when we're finished investigating, there's like 8 or 9 dispositions we give the case. Either
go by-
unknown.
Go by shape sometimes, or
No, we don't go by shape
Nothing-
on there.
nothing
No,
like
just
that?
if it's unknown or not.
Okay.
That's all we go by.
Okay.
But the shape will be in the report. But as for our disposition, it's not in that.
Wow. Has there been a very common shape, one that?
Well, most of them are just like white orbs. And,
Just white,
yeah,
okay.
which is really hard. You can't really tell what they are. 'Cause I've had several Venuses, several. Just stuff like that. People don't realize it. I actually had the Goodyear blimp one time too. No, seriously, I did. I knew it because I was going somewhere on a Saturday morning. And I saw the Goodyear blimp. I lived in Salisbury, right across from Louisville, right? And this was in May. And I see the blimp up there. And I saw, I bet you I get a UFO report tonight because the Derby's going on. I knew that the Goodyear blimp's in the area. And sure enough, we got a report for UFO
Back
in
when
New Albany, Indiana.
I was a construction worker for several years, and I would take the Sherman Minton,
Yeah.
back and forth, and I was coming home one evening, and I thought the same thing. I said, well, there it is. There's one, because it was so far away.
Yeah.
All I could see is this, and I was coming down the hill there, getting ready to come across the Sherman, and to look. Oh,
Disappointed, huh?
I really was, because I just looking through the bridge, the
Yeah.
lettuce and going down.
Uh-huh.
And there was nobody in my car with me
Right.
but no, it was the blimp. And I guess you do get a lot of calls on a blimp because we just don't have many blimps. I think-
exactly.
I think you count them on one hand, can't you, in the country?
Yeah, I think Goodyear's only got like 4 or 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they've got different. I can't remember the names of them, but they actually have a website you can go to. They'll tell you where the blimp's at that day,
Really?
where it's supposed to be
Well,
at,
that would be
scheduled to be at, where it's
interesting.
going to
That
be
would
at, where it
be
was. So, I mean, we can find just about anything on a computer. Ask for research-wise for what we need. Now, we don't do much on the ground, investigation, unless it's a really good case where there could be actual physical evidence, and then we will actually go out there personally and investigate. But it's actually pretty rare. You wouldn't think so, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it is from phone interviews or emails and such like that. That's how we develop most of our cases.
What would get you out, boots on the ground? What would be the?
Probably if somebody said they had an actual landing, then we would definitely go out there and check it out. They might be lying, we don't know, or but we won't know unless we go out there.
Mm-hmm.
That would get us an actual, people to go out there on the ground, boots on the ground, checking it out.
Well, I know you're dead serious about it. And
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
That's one thing I want to do. I want to get out, my boots on the ground, and get out there, and I'm a hands-on kind of person. I want to get out there. We have special protocols. I mean, I have Geiger counter at home, EMF reader. I've got everything I need. I've got all kinds of sample, for soul samples and such. I've got the equipment for that, for the actual, rope everything off, take soul samples in and out of the place, supposed landing places. And MUFON has their own lab. It's in Missouri, where we send all of our stuff to. MUFON has a dive team in case there's a USO, unidentified submersible object. If we get a report of something underwater,
I've been hearing more and more.
Yeah,
about
we have
those.
MUFON actually has a dive team to go check it out.
Have you ever gotten positive results from any of those, or just samples that you've taken?
Well, I've never had taken it yet. Unfortunately,
never?
no.
Okay.
That's something I really want to do. I'm the hands-on kind of guy. I want to get out there and get my hands dirty and maybe get some really good evidence.
Ever had your Geiger counter go off?
No, not yet.
My ears perked up when you said the most common that you see is the white orb, because I've had one UFO experience in my life back in 1989 in Sleepy Hollow around the east end of Kentucky, Louisville. And it was a big white orb, and it just kept traveling closer and closer and getting bigger and bigger, and there was no sound. And I had a witness with me, and we were just enthralled. We're like, helicopter, all the things go through your brain trying to figure out what it is. And then just pure terror took over. Like, we need to get out of here. You're no longer like, ooh, look at it. You're like, oh, shit. And I'm sorry, we're allowed to cuss on here. But we watched it fly towards downtown Louisville. This was October 1989, I believe. And I said, okay, we'll go back to that spot where we were. And if it comes back, we'll know it's, it wasn't just some kind of weird fluke. That giant white orb came back from the same direction it came in the first place, even though we watched it come. And yeah, we got out of there. But that same night, where we were sitting watching for that, we actually had a paranormal experience. You hear about like ghost cars, where you see lights come to you, and that's really a big story throughout Sleepy Hollow. And we saw headlights coming down the road, and you kind of turn your eyes so it doesn't blind you, and they just disappeared. And we drove down there, and all along was a fence, so there was no place for a car to turn, and I mean, that was two very strange experiences so in the same night, but I'll never forget it. And yet, he remembers that every detail too, and we tell that story all the time. It was fascinating.
Well, with paranormal investigations, don't you see orbs?
Yeah,
too?
but you don't normally see orbs with your own eyes. It's something you'll typically capture. I mean, you can, some people do, but it wasn't big and round. I mean, that large of an object, coming at you.
Well, tell us a little about that. If you're in a paranormal investigation, how do you find orbs?
Right.
You take pictures and it shows up?
Right. So taking pictures, is, that's why we tell people, take 3 in a row, because you want to be able to compare, could it be dust? Could it be a reflection? Like John said, there's so many things that reflect. If you take a picture towards the sun, you're always going to get these blue lights, or green lights. So, we do a lot of debunking, and just because you see an orb does not mean that it's paranormal activity. We believe that's kind of how they travel. That's the easiest way for energy to travel, is in a spherical shape. And light, it's light energy. So, to capture that, you kind of need to heighten up that shutter speed, like you were saying. You have to have good photography skills, but normal people can catch it. But it can be dust. It'll look just the same. We watch how it travels. We look at the inside. Sometimes you can see different shapes, faces.
Most of the time.
I'll say that, but yeah, we look at a lot of pictures, and we're always debunking, things.
It sounds like for both of you, most of your activity or sightings are at night. Is that correct? No?
Have them
Really?
in the daytime.
Yeah, we've got plenty of daytime sightings too.
Really?
Also, yeah.
Okay.
But with the pictures, like John, I'm just going to piggyback on what Beth was saying. When we say 3 pictures, it's almost like don't move. It's cha-choom, cha-choom, cha-choom. And to get a baseline, like you need a background.
Yeah.
You need a skyline, you need mountains, or, excuse me, or something.
To compare it
if
to.
you take, so if you're looking at a picture and you have, like that frame, there's nothing there, the next picture, you got a blue light. And then the next picture, there's nothing there. Then that's when we look at it and go, that's a blue light. Most of the time, if it's just grayish or grainy, I don't pay any attention to that. I pay attention if it has color, because dust is not going to have color. Energy is going to have color. Now, what the different colors mean, we don't really know. Is it the strength of their energy? We don't know. Is blue stronger than green? We've seen red, we've seen green, we've seen blue, we've seen yellow. But we don't know why they're different colors. So that's part of our, why are these orbs in different colors? But like I said, pictures are very important. And a lot of people just do one picture, and I'll be like, and she'll, well, where's the first picture? Well, this is my only one. I can't look at that. I can't look at that and say, yes, you have something, when there's nothing before or after.
But the majority of the time, they're orbs. The majority of the time?
If they have color, that's what I say. That's an orb. That's energy. Like we say, the more energy there is, the more likelihood you'll get knocks or taps or touch or. So it's everything kind of correlates with what we talk about. Yeah. So it's like the energy. UFOs are more or less energy coming from in. Paranormal is energy coming from within. Does that make sense? Yeah, so coming in from the out, paranormal's within our realm.
It's interesting to see the parallels. Do you think they're related?
Well, I actually MUFON stand on paranormal. MUFON does not want to be associated with paranormal. They, like I said, I feel that they don't care if the field investigators do paranormal investigations, but they don't want them to intertwine their MUFON investigation with the paranormal. That's their stand. That if we get something that actually looks like it's a paranormal case, we'll send it off somewhere else. We won't even do it.
And that's the same with us.
Yeah.
If somebody says, "Oh, we think we've seen something," we're like, "That's not us."
Yeah, exactly.
You need to contact these people. Because we won't try to even deal with something like that because we don't know. I know more about finding ways to speak to the other side than somebody else coming and seeing us.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I would mostly call MUFON. So, yeah.
That's really.
So what exactly is MUFON's stand on the UFOs or the UAPs? Are they extraterrestrial? Are they just probes sent here to check us out? Do we have any kind of information on that?
Well, basically, it's still up in the air. That's what we're trying to figure out. If they, as some are actually manned from another world, aliens, or some unmanned, just like our Voyager out there. It's been out of the galaxy now. It's been traveling since 1977. That's unmanned. What would another race, if they saw that, what would they think? If they saw it fly by their planet, it's a UFO to them probably. And it's unmanned. Right. So it could be the same thing here. It might be both. It might be unmanned. It might be manned. That's what we're out to trying to figure out. And of course, there could be, robots on there, AI flying them. It's very possible.
Well, we know that our bodies are not.
Yeah,
there's no way they could go into space.
No, not with the G's like the way these things turn 90 degrees at the speeds they do. The body would just, disintegrate more or less. Flatten you against the wall, and there would be nothing left. You'd mush.
Right.
You can't go that fast. Not a human body. No way. You couldn't survive it, unless, of course, you had the technology to manipulate the gravity, where you could. I mean, that's a possibility also. Mm-hmm. But that's the reason I do what I do, to get answers, maybe figure out what it could be, what it is, and hopefully in my lifetime we might be able to find it out. But I don't know. Yeah, really, keep my fingers crossed.
John, do you find that there are weather patterns that affect sightings, or
From what I've seen in my investigations, I haven't found any correlation to weather and sightings whatsoever yet. Of course, when on a cloudy or rainy day, there could be something happening above the clouds we don't know about because nobody sees it.
right?
There's no pictures or no witnesses to see it because it's above the clouds.
But radar would pick it up, wouldn't it?
Well, that's been sometimes where UFOs weren't shown on radar. They were seen with the human eye, but that radar didn't pick them up. So we say. So we're told. Put it that way.
Wow. Do you see any kind of patterns to UFO sightings?
As of right now, I haven't. No, most of our sightings are closer to Indy, which you'd figure because of the higher population, and we get a lot of northern Indiana up by Lake Michigan, up closer to Chicago. That population up there is higher, and of course you got a lot of air traffic over the Great Lakes, so Lake Michigan coming across there. There's a lot of stuff over top of it. If you're, how many of you ever went to the Great Lakes? It's like looking out in the ocean. And I was born in Detroit, and I grew up around Lake Huron. You can look across, so you don't see nothing but water. It's like looking at the ocean. And you can see forever out there, and you can see lights, a plane miles and miles, away, and you get a lot of mistaken stuff out there. People misidentifies UFOs.
Do you see a correlation with ley lines and UFO activity?
Not that I've noticed, no. Now, of course, down here, further south where I like now, we're getting close to 37 parallel, which is supposed to be a big UFO hotspot, which runs like from southern Kentucky around southern Indiana, Illinois, down west, all around, through, I think one of their states that go through, it's 37 parallel. Kentucky had that one famous sighting back in the 50s. It was in, actually, it was in Franklin, Kentucky. Brockton Hall
The
is.
Kelly family.
Yeah, with that, and there was a jet pilot, Air Force pilot. His plane crashed there. He was chasing a UFO in Franklin,
Yes,
Kentucky.
that's right,
That was in the
Dave.
1950s something. He was stationed at Godman Field in Fort Knox. And he got dispatched by Sanford Field in Louisville in a squadron to chase a UFO in the 1950s. His name was Mantell. His last name was Mantell. And they were getting low on fuel, and the other ones turned around to go back to base, and he chased the UFO up to I don't know how many thousands of feet, and his plane disintegrated, and it ended up landing in Franklin, Kentucky. But they think he went too high and he passed out from lack of oxygen, is what they think. But he's actually chasing a UFO.
Cover up.
Yeah, possibility.
As always.
Back then, it was more common to cover it up than it was to investigate it.
Exactly. And not as many cell phones as you say, so,
Right.
Only certain people are going to have documented
Yeah.
evidence.
And of course, the government, like out towards Area 51, they had a lot of disinformation too. Back in the day, where they give people, tell them there was UFOs out there. Actually, had somebody tell people they're looking at UFOs, so they think it was UFOs, and actually it's experimental aircraft, and they want people to think they're UFOs, so they wouldn't know the experimental aircraft were in there. One of the guys' name was Doty. He worked for intelligence, counterintelligence. That was his job. To disinformation, to get people looking for this, when actually it's us. So
Like
there you
the
go.
Don't look behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Pay no attention.
There was a guy who came to speak at Murray State when I was there. Hans Holzer, I believe was his name.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was the only civilian who had access to the records of Project Blue Book. And he said, there's a whole lot going on, and, no one's going to tell you.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well, you figure,
Of course, that was 1974.
J. Allen Hynek, who was with Project Blue Book all them years, he actually, when the Project Blue, towards the end of it, he actually started changing his mind and believing in UFOs. And when the Project Blue Book ended in 1969, he started work for APRO, where they investigate UFOs. So he's actually investigating UFOs for civilians, because there were so many things that he couldn't explain during his time there at Blue Book, that he'd be actually believing in there's something's going on. So he was actually believing in them. So that tells me something.
All right.
On the paranormal activity, do you guys see common denominators a lot on the places you go, or certain kinds of activity or locations that seem to?
Like parallel activities, like similar activity.
Yes, or any
It's
activity.
very
really.
varied from location, I think.
It's very random. most historical places that we've gone, it just depends on the area of where it's located. Depends on if we get activity, and they just don't come out because we ask. You know, what we do is we hope to get interaction. So we could go and nothing happen at all.
Wow.
Absolutely nothing. But then we could go and it's just rampant. It just depends. It's almost like, are they in the mood to talk to us?
How do you try and get the interaction? What kind of tools do you have for that?
What we do every time is we introduce ourselves. We thank them for letting us be there. If they want to talk to us, we'll have equipment set up. So it could be a cat ball, it could be the music box, it could be a K2, it could be a flashlight, it could be the REM pod.
An EMF meter.
EMF meters. We'll just set stuff up everywhere.
We set out a net. And, you know, with paranormal, you know, if you look at it as they're just humans that have crossed over, they're going to keep that personality. They're going to pick and choose how they want to communicate.
Yep.
So we just set out all of our equipment and say, you know, we're here if y'all want to talk.
And then most of the time we just start talking amongst ourselves. We've kind of learned through the years that we've done this, they're tired of the questions. You know,
Yeah. How did you die? You know, imagine
you're dead?
people, coming over and over.
I want to relive that.
So-
moment.
They don't want
We
to
just
talk
get
to us
there
about that.
and we just say hi. We're here just to learn about you. If you want to talk to us, here's all these different. We tell them there's toys for you to play with, and then most of the time we'll just sit there, either be quiet or we'll just talk amongst ourselves. And it's like they're like, "Hey,
Yeah, we're over here.
We're
we want to
here.
join in on this
And then
conversation.
most of the time, I'd say 80% of the time, something will light up after we sit there for a
And
little
then we'll
bit.
follow through with
And
that
then
and
we'll be
say,
like,
hey,
oh, well,
thanks.
hello, and different things
Have
like
you ever
that.
had any extended contact with them
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
for minutes at a time?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Um,
crazy part, too,
yeah.
because when it's right on cue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that EP Tom Sawyer, we used to get that a lot because so it's a state park in the east end of Louisville. It used to be the old Central State Insane
Lakeland
Asylum,
Asylum,
Lakeland Asylum, and TB Hospital. So that property's got a lot of history.
A lot.
And as we continue to go there, we were learning names and developing relationships, hearing different voices. So like Charlie, who hangs out in the cave area, he has a very distinct voice. And we were getting to where we're capturing each voice. You can tell, oh, who's this? Women voice, and we're asking names, and we could get prolonged activity. And one time we were having a lot of interaction. They're mostly interacting with our K2 meter, which is an EMF meter.
Or a flashlight.
And you can ask yes and no questions, like light it up for yes or don't answer for no, or things like that. And we can say, are you still here? And it'll light up. So we will look for those on cue type things to where we feel like we're having that conversation, because we don't always hear them. You can go back later and listen to your recorders, pick up voices and what they said, when we may not always hear that. And we were having, we use the spirit box a lot, which scans through radio frequencies. We can scan backwards. We can pick FM or AM. And so it's like static or white noise that they can choose to speak through. And some people, will wear the headphones and will ask questions. So they just speak out what they hear coming through these frequencies, because it is loud and it's hard to do. So you really do have to concentrate to hear things. But we were getting some kind of message talking through the K2, and this had gone on for a good half an hour. But they were telling us to watch out, and we're like, we're saying to somebody here, and the K2 would light up, and we have permission to be on this property after hours through the state park system, so nobody else should be out there. And every once in a while the police will come to check, do
Make
their
sure we're
walkthrough,
okay,
things like that. So it was telling us that somebody was coming, because we were asking, and it ended up being the police officers. And we were on YouTube, I think, or Facebook Live at the time, and they're like, hey, and they didn't, or we were yelling out and they didn't answer back, and we were starting to get a little scared. And then finally they're like, LMPD were like, oh, thank God, you know, because we had permission to be there. But it was weird because they were telling us, like, somebody's coming, watch out, you know, we weren't doing anything wrong. But, it was weird. And, you know, it's like we can pick and choose who, you know, hey, Charlie, are you here? Isaac
Charlie
Kite
likes
used to
Swisher
own the
Sweets.
property. Yeah, he liked. And what's strange is, this is a great story. I have a friend who used to work at Central State, and he knew a guy named Charlie that he told me about. This guy was insane, you know. He felt no pain. He dug his eye out with, I'm sorry to tell this story, it's a little squeamish, dug his eye out
We've
with a
already eaten
spoon.
supper.
I know.
For those of you eating, we apologize.
Yeah, we apologize. But he dug his eye out with a spoon, and he was actually a really nice guy. Treated the women nurses very respectfully, but man, he was powerful. He was strong. He was a big black guy. He could overpower anybody. So my friend that worked with him, he was like they would call him orderlies back then, or like kind of like a CNA type of thing, tech. And he became friends with Charlie, and, you know, he'd always give him a Swisher Sweet. That was, you know, they could go out and smoke, and that was his thing. And when we started going down to the cave, we were getting this deep voice, because my friend would tell me, oh, Charlie had this deep voice, and he loved the women, but, you know, he was you know, full of it. And so then when we asked him, do you like Swisher Sweets? We ended up getting some kind of answer, you know, through something, and we started bringing that to him, you know. And anyway, so we haven't gotten to be down at EP for a while. They've got a new park manager, so we miss our old stomping ground. So I wonder if they miss us, you know, going down there to
Yeah, because they were saying my
communicate.
name for a while.
Oh, yeah,
And my
get
name's
our name.
Lesla, so it's not like through the spirit box.
Yeah,
That's a
clear
common
as day.
name.
Right.
Because the first time they said, I didn't know they said it, and then I was just going back and reviewing, and then I heard my name and I literally threw the headphones off, and I was like, wait a minute, and I put it back, and then I'm calling her, they said my name. And then we'd gone out another time, they said it again.
In different areas
In
of the
different
park,
areas
too,
of
which
the
is
park.
interesting.
And then the third time, we had another paranormal group with us, and I kept saying, they say my name. I was like, well, watch. And so we're all in a big circle, and we're in the root cellar, and I was like, hey, you know, it's Lesla, Beth's here, you know, blah, 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 just here to say, hey, if you want to talk to us. And so they start talking about it. I was like, they don't believe you can say my name. And as soon as I said that, it went, Lesla, through the SB7 box, and every of them were like, oh my God. And I was like, told ya.
Yeah. And then we go to new places, and it feels like they don't want to talk right away because they don't know us. And so it's kind of one of those things, you do develop kind of a relationship,
Yeah.
but you always tell them not to follow you home. That's
follow.
one rule people don't know about paranormal investigations. They will follow you if you forget
If they
to
like
say-
you.
If they like you, they want to follow you.
Or you remind them of something or
Yeah,
someone.
that they attach to. Yeah.
Oh,
You
there's
be really
my-
friendly there, but you know, so there's a boundary when we go.
But if you tell them not to follow you home, they'll respect that.
They do.
Most of, yeah, they do.
The times we haven't told them.
Oh, yeah.
We brought stuff home.
I brought
Yeah.
stuff home.
So when that happens, how do you reverse it? How do you get them to go back where they're at?
Well, at first, because I'm all about peace and joy and love, I'm like, you can stay here. It doesn't bother me. You know, they weren't really doing anything scary. But then my water bill went up a lot, and my electric bill went up a lot. And then they turned the shower on in the room when I was in there. And for some reason, I was like, that's it. And I just stood up, and I stood my ground and said, you got to go. You're not allowed here anymore. Go to Jesus. Go to the light. And
That's all it took.
that's all it took.
Sometimes it's that easy.
Sometimes now I'm not saying it happens all the time like
No,
that,
no.
but you have to be very firm. And that's what we try to tell people
Yeah,
when we do
we
private investigations. Stand your ground.
Yeah,
Let them
stand your
know
ground.
this is my place. Most of the time it's just energy that's replaying. It's like a movie.
Residual.
Unless they answer you back, then it's intelligent.
So they are attached geographically to a place.
I think they
You're
can
not
be.
Gonna, you're not going to find Charlie at
right at our house.
else.
No,
Hopefully,
no, no.
no. I don't know how how they break that boundary to come to follow you home. We've had to tell people to get out of the car. We saw an apparition sitting in her car when we came out to get in the car when we were
Yeah.
leaving the park.
Yeah.
And we're like, you get out. And we saw the same thing, and we both just
We saw
didn't
the
say
same
anything
thing.
at
Taxi.
first. I know. So, yeah, we got in
And
the
in
car.
the
we
driver's
said-
seat.
It was
my
it was
car.
scary. It was a blonde
It kind of
haired
like
woman.
startled us because we just like stood there
And the
you're,
light was
like,
on, and we
looking,
didn't
and
leave the light on in
I
the
was
car.
like, "Is there somebody in my car?"
And-
And she's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah," and I was like, "Oh my god!" It's like, who's in my car?
And then we
It's locked.
described it to each other, and we had both seen the same thing.
Yeah,
we
it was
both
pretty
just
weird.
like, oh, yeah. So I don't know, how some can leave where they're, that's why we're constantly
kind of-
studying.
Yeah, how you do that?
I know. Right. Why are some people, trapped? Why are they interacting? It's not residual. If they can interact, it's not that
It's
playback.
intelligent, yeah.
It's intelligent. There is some kind of spirit energy there.
Are they in purgatory or are they choosing to be here? It's so many questions we can't answer. We just keep looking and looking and looking. Just like you all are probably
Yeah.
so many questions.
And debunking,
Yeah,
always
we're
debunking.
debunking. Like you said, you have to
Constantly,
go. So yeah, we're
You should see the
debunking
pictures we get.
constant.
Carson, you still there?
I'm still here.
Didn't scare you off, huh?
Oh, yeah. Boy, I hope you're enjoying the show this evening out there in Radio Land. Oh, man, I'm getting scared back here. I need to get me a teddy bear. So we'll be back. This is WBRO 89.9 FM, community radio for the universe this evening. What would you call the
Spirit world.
spirit world? I couldn't bring that up.
Don't make them mad.
All right, don't make a mess. Oh, mum.
So is our nation a little more closed-mouthed about it?
Yeah, but that's getting better the way it seems. I think it's supposed to have some kind of disclosure thing in November. I'm waiting to see how that goes with the Congress. I've been hearing about that, and it's speculation, but I don't know what's going to come of it.
Well, there seemed to the military seems to have loosened up quite a bit. You've got all the recent footage by Navy fighter pilots.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's MUFON's take on that?
Well, actually, it's good for business. It's put that way, because since those videos have come out from the New York Times and stuff, and that sightings, people reports have picked up quite a bit. People are more apt to report them down when they see them, because I think people are. And actually, my wife too, after seeing videos like that, she's more open to the subject too. Less skeptical about it. More open-minded about saying, well, maybe this stuff is real. Maybe it's not just a bunch of hocus pocus baloney. So I think it's opened up a lot of people's minds by seeing these videos that the government, that actual, Air Force pilots can't explain what they are,
Right.
and the speeds they move and the turns they make, and it's really phenomenal. It's the way the way things are turned around over the last, I'd say, 7 or 8 years.
Right, no heat signature and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No aerial, no propellers, no rotors, nothing. No wings. It's just nothing like that we have. As most of the pilots tell you, that they've never seen, that they know, that we don't have anything like that, or neither does anybody else. Because you figure most of these combat pilots are taught to notice what else these other countries are flying. They don't go out. They know everything these other countries are supposedly have, because they're trained for that. They know what to look for. So if they were something from a foreign country, it seems like these fighter pilots would know about it, because they're trained to identify these things, to know what they are.
I'm curious. So how they used to be called UFOs and now they're UAPs? Why do you think that was changed?
In my opinion, it's the UFO, the stigma around the word UFO. When you say UFO, people automatically think alien. Now they changed the UAP. You're thinking of what it is, unidentified aerial phenomenon. You say UFO, people's mind automatically go to alien,
Exactly.
and they don't want people to think that it's aliens involved because they don't know, which we don't know. But that's just human nature from hearing UFO and related to aliens all these years. It's just the first thing that comes to your mind.
Exactly.
So I think that's why they changed it to that, to keep them people's minds off aliens.
Right.
Well, I think I've read a book once, Marc. I did, and it was incredible because it tried to explain the Drake equation, which is how many planets, how many universes, not universes because they couldn't really define a universe, how many solar systems were there, and it's in the billions, trillions, and there's billions and trillions of stars in each. Are we that? What is the term? Spoiled, I guess, to think that we are the only one.
Arrogant, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, arrogant.
arrogant.
There you go. That's a good one.
That
Yeah.
is a good one.
Adjective of choice. There.
But then the distance. The distance is the thing until you've learned to travel in. There we go again. Time.
Right.
And apparently these cats know how to do that.
Yeah, but
That's where space folding comes in.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I can
and-
figure that with nearest star is like 7 or 8 light years away.
No, the nearest star is 97 million, the sun.
Well, but next to the sun. Yeah,
That's right.
the nearest alien star.
Sure.
Put it that way. It's like 6 or 7 light years away.
Alpha
And you figure it's
Centauri.
a light year. That's how far light travels a year.
Yeah.
And it's like 600 and something thousand miles a second is what light travels. So, because when I was growing up, I used to sit back and look at these stars and say, well, that star was. You're watching history. You're seeing a star
Right.
that's 100 light years away. So, okay, a light year. That's how far light travels in a year. Light year. And you're figuring that star is 100 light years away. So that light you're seeing from that star right now came from that star 100 years ago. It's history.
It may not even be there.
Yeah, it might not be there.
Yeah,
yet.
and
exactly.
that is a
Gone.
fact.
Be gone,
I mean,
right.
it is a
It could
fact.
blow up.
Yeah.
It's,
That always amazed me. I'm sitting there
That's
watching history,
fascinating.
looking at the star,
I had the oil changed in my Jeep, my old Jeep, and it's got 270 something thousand on it. That's how far it is to the moon. So I've been to the moon, and I'm coming back.
That's amazing.
And I told the guy who I bought it from, Sean Scott, when he was selling cars, it's a station manager, and he said, "Well, I knew I sold you a good one, or I should have kept that
Yeah.
one myself, or something like that."
Right.
I bet you ain't been to the moon as much as Alice Crandon has you.
Right.
Boy,
Yeah, to the moon. Now.
Norton.
that's pretty good, buddy. For you listeners out there that are under 30,
Yeah, you will know that
you
one.
wouldn't know Alice
Yeah.
Brandon. Well, I can't tell you how much this is just a joy. I didn't know how we were going to do this. We were going to set it up, and, ghosts, and then we'll talk about UFOs. But the collective knowledge on this is just blowing me away. You're just such a nice fella, and you know all this stuff. Your head should be this big.
Yeah, not even close.
So it's so
Talk
nice.
to his wife about that.
Yeah. Now, I've had one experience myself, UFO experience. One that there's a couple I've had.
That was my next.
Yeah, that's a good
There's a
question.
couple I had. A couple of my buddies of mine were riding on Highway 245. I don't know if you know where that is, going to Bardstown. From Interstate 65 to Claremont, where Jim Beam is down that way.
Yeah.
And we were this probably in the late 70s.
Where you come here and going from Jim Beam.
Now we were past Jim Beam, heading for Bardstown. And
It's
these-
a dry county. You
this
can
light-
actually drink the Jim Beam
Yeah.
down there. You couldn't back
We were going
then.
down there. I was probably about midnight or so, and we saw the bright light in front of us come. We're on top of my car, man, just fast as can be on top of it. But then I have the stranger one. This is in 1979 or early 80. I think it's early 80. I worked at Ford Kentucky Truck Plant, and I got off at 11:30 that night. And my brother, he was dating a girl that lived at Mallgate Apartments behind the Mall St. Matthews.
Yeah.
He was at her apartment. and he wanted to pick him up on his way home. I lived in Valley Station, pick him up and take him home. So I got out of work and I was driving home and I saw this weird light in the sky. And I kept staring at it and looking at it. And I said, man, that is weird looking. And I kept staring. And I got to the apartments, and of course I didn't have cell phones in, so I had to go up to knock on the door and tell him I was there. And he came out, and the first thing he said, "Did you see that light up there?" I said, "Yeah, I've been watching it." He goes, "We've been watching it through the window." I said, "That's strange." And we went back outside. Then I had a full-size Bronco then, and I got in my truck, and he opened the passenger door, and he got in, and all of a sudden, this big, bright light enveloped my whole truck, just as bright as day. It was like midnight.
Wow.
It was so bright, you couldn't see nothing, no noise. We both jumped out and looked up, and it just disappeared. It was gone.
Wow.
We talk about it to this day.
You are lucky you did
Yeah.
not get abducted.
That's what somebody told me in MUFON, the guy that trained me. He said, "You're lucky you didn't get abducted." But that, I'll never forget that time as long as I live, because
Was that over by the mall?
right
Okay.
there was in Mallgate Apartments, right in the parking lot.
Yep, I know
But
where
see,
that
I knew it
is.
wasn't a police helicopter, because like when I was 15 or 16, the police helicopter would come over in Valley Station and stuff and fly, and me and my stepbrother would take flashlights and shine it at it.
Yeah.
And then when he'd shine a spotlight down, we'd jump in the bushes, and he couldn't
Right,
see us. So
right.
I knew what the police helicopter sound like and
Right.
spotlight looked like.
Yeah.
From
And there's sounds with the
experimental stuff when I was
helicopter,
a kid.
right?
Yeah, no sound. But this was 4 times as bright and no sound. And that's and from then on, I just something's there.
That's a really cool experience, but I'm going to be really silly. Do you think that they saw you and like, nope, not taking that one? Not taking that one.
Now my brother
Looks like
Stand you
trouble
and
to
say,
The force is strong at
Let's
this
say
point.
that happened. My brother is like that.
I was just
Seriously,
being
he
silly.
is. My brother is.
But not long after that, isn't that when the police
chased the
helicopter
UFO.
chased the UFO? That was one of the most
Yeah.
documented
That was in Jefferson County. Who
experiences.
still had their own police department in Louisville.
I hadn't heard
Louisville
about
Police
that.
Department.
Yeah.
Jefferson
Oh,
County Police
yeah.
Department.
What
Tell-
year was that?
Yeah, tell that
Somewhere
story.
in the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
Tell
us
that
more.
story. I don't know that one.
Oh, it's a good one.
Yeah, there's a reported UFO in Louisville area, and the Jefferson County police helicopter got the report. And they, of course, had the 2 police officers on it, the pilot and the other guy, and they actually chased it. And I think you can find it online.
There's a
the report.
broadcast
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
It's been on a lot of shows.
Yeah, it's
too.
very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very
Because they
interesting.
they also were like following it from the ground, I believe, as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Lots.
was pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. That helicopter pilot was terrified.
Oh yeah, he
You can
was.
hear it in his voice. He doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of stories of abductions? The only one I know of that comes to mind, I'm sorry you were talking about it being abducted, and I had a question that I wanted to get to. There were a couple of fishermen abducted in Pascagoula, Mississippi
Yeah.
in the early 60s, and that was a pretty famous case.
Yeah.
But it's not like you hear about this happening all the time.
Now that you don't, there are more out prevalent as the ones you heard about. Like you heard the Travis Walton case in '75. You heard about that one?
No.
Travis Walton, the logger, him and his logging crew in Arizona in 1975.
No.
They were out logging in Arizona, and they had a logging contract with the U.S. Forest Department. And they were supposedly getting behind on the contract, and it was getting late, getting dark, and they were working late because otherwise they'd lose a lot of money if they didn't get the contract done with the government in time. They were heading back down the mountain, and they saw this UFO on top of the hill in between the trees, and they all saw it. And Travis said he's going to get out and look at it. Mm-hmm. So he jumps out and walks toward it, and they're all screaming for him, get back in here, get back in here. And he kept walking towards it, and they kept screaming, and all of a sudden a light shined down on him, on Travis, and knocked him back. And it scared the other guys in the truck so much they got in and took off driving down the mountain. Then they got like 10, 15 minutes away. They stopped, and they decided they had to go back and get him because they didn't know if he was alive or dead or what happened to him. So supposedly they turned around, went back up there, and they couldn't find him. He was gone. So they were all scared to death. There were 6 or 7 total guys there. And they decided to go down. They were going to call the police. So they went down to the sheriff's department, told deputies and stuff, and they all come back up there, and they all searched the area. And it was dark, and they couldn't find anything, so they went back down to come back during the daytime, had like 50 other searchers to go look for them, and they scoured the area and couldn't find them. So at this time, the sheriff was starting. They told him what happened. Of course, they didn't believe him. So the sheriff's department was thinking that maybe they murdered him and hid the body somewhere. This went on for several days, and no word from him. And finally, they gave him lie detector tests, and all but one passed it. And they still didn't believe me. I still thought something fishy's going on there. They sent a search party up again, helicopters, dogs, horseback. Couldn't find no trace of them. So 5 days later, his brother got a call from a phone booth down the road, a few miles away, and it was him. And they went and picked him up, didn't tell the police yet, took him to a hospital. They got a hold of a UFO group in that area that went to the hospital and brought their doctors and such to examine them and everything, and hypnotherapists and stuff. And they actually determined he told the truth. The other guys took lie detector tests again, and all but one was inconclusive. The inconclusive one, the rest of them were, said we're telling the truth. And he's got the story out there, and he went through hypnoregression and found out he was, supposedly abducted by aliens, and they dropped him off on the road down there. And he's got a movie. Made a movie out in the '80s called Fire on the Mountain, and Amazon Prime's got a show about it. It's the Travis Walton story. And it's pretty believable. If you watch it, you got 6 guys, and they say they're all telling the truth, and they've never wavered from their story. So, and the newest show on Prime it was like done about 3 or 4 years ago, so it's pretty recent. And the guys I think most of the guys all but 2 are still alive, and they still stick to their stories. Then, of course, you got the Betty and Barney Hill in 1961 in New Hampshire. And that was a famous story. And it was really rare of them to go public because it was a black guy married to a white girl in '61.
Relationship.
Yeah. And, so that would be kind of weird, coming out public with a story like that, when most of America was still against interracial marriages, But that was a really well-known story. And actually, one of the ladies, her niece, Kathleen Martin, she is part of the MUFON ERT team. So she helps with the experience and resource team for people who are supposedly been abducted. She started that team, actually.
And then you wonder how many folks have not spoken up.
Exactly. Yeah, I've had a couple call me that I actually got I got a Facebook group, Indiana MUFON on Facebook, and they contacted me at the Facebook Messenger, telling me their story, about how they were abducted. And one lady, she didn't. I told her to report before I got into the ERT and have her report to ERT. And I got her story on the air, Unsolved Mysteries podcast. They called me one time, wanted to know if I knew anything about a UFO flap in Indiana in '74. And I looked at all of our MUFON logs, and I couldn't really find anything. And I told her I had a good abduction story case. If I can give you get a hold of the lady, the lady it happened to, and give her your information. If maybe she'll want to talk to you about it. But I couldn't give her information out to anybody. So I told her about it, and she got a hold of them, and they did a podcast on her story. She was from up around Nashville, Indiana.
And that's not too far.
Yeah.
It's just up the road there, isn't it?
Yeah. But I get a lot of people come up and tell me their stories on just on the website and on Facebook that want to come up and tell stories.
And what is that website?
The website is MUFONOfIndiana.com.
That's easy. Okay.
Yep.
It's interesting thinking about the interactions between aliens, for lack of a better term, and humans. What do you all see happening with paranormal investigations, interactions between presences and humans? I mean, I don't even know how to ask the question.
Like as far as...
Well, I mean, do you get the feeling that somebody's trying to give you a message, or are they just playing with you, or nudging you out of the dark, or what's going on?
So we always want we have very specific questions like, where are you? What do you see? Do you see us? How do you hear us? And it's like a different dimension, and those are the questions we never really get answers to, even though we ask it all the time. But yeah, they get to choose what they want to talk about, and a lot of them may not want to talk about their deaths, so and I get that, who would want to be reminded over and over, but some do. Some want to talk about the tragedy and want people to know their story. But it's a different interaction.
But do you think there's
constantly.
How can I put this into words? Do you think there is a society like us here? Do they interact with each other?
I think they do interact with each other.
I think they do.
Sometimes. I
it
think they have to be on the
depends.
same dimensional level. I think there's different dimensions.
Right. It's so hard to explain. I think they do, but I think it's like the era that we're in. If we passed, that era can stay with that group.
Era, like
Era,
ERA,
yeah,
era.
yeah, era.
Energy.
Then you have your 1920s. I don't see anybody from 1920 associating with anybody.
Oh, you think they associate
They
with
stay-
their time
Their time
period?
frame,
They're
period.
contemporaries. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't. But
Yeah.
that's the way I see. I don't see them saying, like I've passed and be like, "Hey, Lesla, how are you?
Yeah.
Remember you talked to me at
Yeah.
EP?" And I'd be like,
Right.
"What's up?"
Or Indiana State, where we just did the sanatorium. People from the 1900s up until the 80s died there.
Yeah.
So it's like, are the people that died from the 80s talking to the people from the early 1900s?
We don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know. That's something we'll probably never know.
Right.
But
Well,
I
they-
would
Yeah,
think
hope
you
to
would
know.
be, well, like the sanatorium, that time frame. Like those people would probably be able.
And it almost seems like
Communicate
they do.
with
like,
each other.
Yeah.
Because they all share the same experience.
Yeah. Are
And
they?
it's
Or
possible
time
that-
frame. It's so.
Yeah. Are they still living that particular time frame?
And it's possible, I guess, that everything's possible, but people from the 1920s could have been speaking to patients in the 1980s.
Right.
While
As
they
a
were
ghost,
still alive,
right? And
and
then they
then
die
they
there.
really
Are they
are.
still taught? I don't know.
And then
Maybe.
the doctors and
Well-
stuff are like, "Oh, well, they're crazy because they're talking to." No,
These are
He dies there.
these are communicating with you guys because you're trying to talk with them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think some of them are actually waiting for a specific person or type of person to initiate a contact
Yes.
of some
Yeah.
sort?
yeah.
Yeah. They will pick an energy.
Like it could be at Indiana State there
It was
was
all about
10 of
Courtney.
us,
Yeah.
and they really focused on interacting with one person.
She was the youngest.
She was the
and
youngest.
They just attached to her energy.
Yeah, but we can go somewhere and I'll try to talk or whatever, and I'll get no response, and then Beth will talk to him and she gets the responses.
Right.
So
or
they
somebody in a
might
group,
pick
right.
somebody like John. They want to talk to you tonight.
Right.
You know,
And we'll notice because they'll stop talking when that person quits asking questions and other people start asking.
They won't
And then
talk.
we'll go, you need to go back because they want to talk to you. I don't know
and
why.
as soon as they do, then here they go
So
again.
even if the person
So-
that they seem to attach to is still in the room, they won't they won't answer questions from
Unless they
anybody else
ask.
unless
Right.
they ask.
Right. They could ask the same questions. And then, we've seen that a lot.
Maybe it's their energy and your energy. Just
Just aren't
mesh.
on that
Or
same
again,
resonance.
There's
That's
something
the way
about
I
that
look
person that they're more attracted to. You
at it.
know,
Or the frequency, vibration, resonance
Yeah.
is,
Right.
is what I feel is
well,
it's all
especially out
energy.
at the park, I would always get for the longest time, and just on my voice recorder, I would always get a little girl saying "mommy," and we would all have our voice recorders going, but only on mine would we get it. And then I think we figured it was Elizabeth. It was a daughter that had passed away on the property, but it was just so that's what we're saying. It's like all of us had voice recorders going, but just on mine. So did she purposely just go to mine? But every time.
And we ended up praying for Elizabeth at some point, and we have never caught
Never heard from her
voice again because it was terrifying. over the years, we would constantly hear somebody screaming, "Mommy!"
Like
from
and it
across
would
the
hurt
park
your
at
heart.
nighttime.
It would hurt your heart.
And you just wonder, what are they reaching for? And we ended up doing a prayer one night, and she
Haven't
haven't
had
heard it
any
since,
messages
which is a good
from her,
thing.
which I'm
'Cause you
kind of
do
sad.
Yeah.
Well, we
but
want
I'm happy
them.
that
Yeah.
she's,
Yeah.
you know. But it was like, oh, she felt like attachment,
And
you
we-
know.
And we hate places where they go in and try to provoke
Yeah, don't
or
provoke.
you know, just be assholes.
disrespectful.
Sorry, just-
They're everywhere, aren't they?
yeah. You know, but you know, those people will get what's coming
They
to them.
get-
That
yeah, they
spirit
do.
world is way more powerful
We've
than we
seen it
understand.
happen. We've
Yeah,
seen
we've
it
seen-
happen.
One of the best times was Casey Cemetery, and that's a really old cemetery in E-Town, Elizabethtown. And it's up on a hill. It's from the 1700s. And a lot of, you know, young people go up there to do bad things. And we were up there one night, and somebody brought a Ouija board. And they're like, "Do you mind if we do this?" It's like, "Yeah, you just go over
Like,
there. You get
move
away from
away.
us.
Move
yeah,
away.
ain't doing it."
Move far away.
And man, we were getting EVPs that say, do not interfere or do not help. It said, "Do not help." And all these young people that came with them, they were close
They
to us
stayed
because
with us. They didn't go down there
know
with
what
them.
that dude over there was conjuring up. Well, I mean, a few minutes later, his nose is bleeding. He comes up to us, and we're like,
away.
you need to get out of the cemetery. I don't know what you were messing with, but it's angry. Yeah. And so
Obviously.
they get out to the parking lot. Nose quits bleeding. Okay. They think, "I'm
Automatically.
fine. I'm doing okay." Comes back in the cemetery, doing it again. We're like, "You have messed
And he's
with
hanging out
something."
near us. I'm like, get away.
He's bleeding everywhere. Yeah.
Get away
Yeah,
from us.
But and then their car didn't start when they try to leave, which is
And that's one of the
always
urban legends.
claims.
When you go
but
there,
it's true. It
they'll make
happens.
your
I've
car
seen
not
it.
start. And
You
I have
mess with
physically seen, because the whole time we were walking by, I was like, I've been nothing but kind. I've been nothing but respectful. I did
Get
not
outta here.
do any of that. They were not a part of me. Please stay here. Please let my car start. Please. And there was about 4 cars.
Yeah.
And every one that got in the cars, they were back there doing whatever they were doing, not being respectful, and none of their cars would start.
We waved.
And mine, I was like, it was like, and I was like, see ya. I
we
was like,
did.
out of
Do you need
here.
me to call you a record?
You're
you're
it
on.
will start eventually. You
Eventually,
wait,
but-
and then it will.
4 cars.
But you
They're
will
like,
get
my car won't
terrified.
start. And I was like, see ya.
Yeah. So it's all about being respectful.
It is. You get what you give out. So if you're provoking and you're wanting something to happen, it's going to happen.
Careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish
Because
for.
you'll get it.
Well, and we've taken a couple people out that, and I'm still, I've had too many things happen that I don't believe, but I'm still skeptical at the same time. And we've taken a couple people out that one was a Marine, never believed in it. It's like, no, that's not. We're like, well, go out with us. Just hang out with us. One of the probably biggest things that ever happened to us, he was there and witnessed it. And from that day on, he became a believer
You became
and
an
joined our team.
investigator. He
And joined our team.
Yeah.
Because he's
'Cause-
like, I don't understand that. And I was like, we
don't
don't either. It's like,
it.
and he kept going, that was a moth. I was like, no, wasn't a
Yeah,
moth.
we saw a giant shadow figure in
It
our
blocked
laser
out the whole
grid,
cave.
and it was a woman's figure. It was just crazy.
It was
It's a long
crazy.
story.
It was a very long story. But yeah, he became a believer. And there was someone else that was,
I don't
I don't
There's been a
know,
lot
but
of people
they-
that don't believe, or they come on our tours, and we do public tours where we go to haunted locations. They ask us to come and lead groups, so we get to use our equipment, and people get to see how the equipment works and how we communicate.
How do they find you? How
So-
do people find?
Yeah,
take
usually
the tour?
just Googling, paranormal in Kentucky, but we're at SiriusParanormal.com. We have a Facebook page at Sirius Paranormal. A lot of people send us emails, SiriusParanormal502 at gmail.com. But yeah, mostly emails when we do private investigations. we keep everybody's information private. We don't charge people. We take it very seriously because usually we're dealing with families and sometimes children. And I warn people all the time, just don't reach out just, to any paranormal investigative teams. They're popping up everywhere.
Right.
But people
Do your
don't
research
know
on
what
them.
they're messing with until they've, done it for years. And if they're not taking it seriously, because, when children are seeing spirits and they're scared, you need people in there who are going to be kind and not create, some people have investigative teams in and activity gets worse because they provoke or are disrespectful. So we take it very seriously.
Do most spirits have a dramatic story? Or is that what keeps them here? Or do you find somebody who's it's like their day is baking bread and tilling the garden?
Yeah, I think a lot of the residuals.
A lot of residual.
To be just,
and that's energy just attaching itself for
Yeah.
years. So
But
if that
usually-
person's doing it for years and years and years
Yeah,
and years and
right.
years, depending also on the land and the rock and the wood that it was built with, there's so many components that will do it. But most of them, it's like residual. So it's just a movie playing. They don't even see us like we might see them. They'll be like, but it's just
and even
energy.
trauma can cause like a scream to be heard over and over. That doesn't mean that there's a spirit screaming out, but it could be recorded in like limestone or just energy fields.
It sounds like you're saying that they may not even notice you most of the time until
Right.
you actually try and reach out to them. They don't even really notice you.
Right. Or they're used to people not even noticing them, and then they're in shock. They're like, "Are they talking to me?" Yeah.
Can they hear us for real?
But that's what we try to see: is it residual, or can we get it to interact? If we can get it to interact, we can find out why it's there and ask questions and try to get it to leave a family alone. Or
And we've asked before, do you want help? And sometimes it says nope.
right. And,
So
yeah.
there's just a few things the way I have researched and read and everything like that. You have spirits and you have ghosts. Spirits are ones that have crossed over to the other side. They can come back and visit a family member, and then they go back.
Yeah, you can have
Like
visitations.
they can
if
come to
somebody's
you in a
at peace,
dream, or they can
come. Yeah.
turn lights on, and then they go back. A ghost is someone who has not crossed over yet. So either A, they don't want to go, they liked what they were doing. B, back in those
Scared.
days, they're scared for, religion or whatever they were told.
Going to hell.
They're going to go, so no, I'm not going.
Not going to open that door.
Right.
Not going.
exactly.
I'm not going through that door. So there's just, to me, a spirit is still someone who can come visit you, but then is able to go back. A ghost is someone who has not crossed over.
So they're tethered here. The ghosts, they're tethered here of their own will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
think so.
I think so. I don't think it's something keeping them here, but that's just my opinion. I think they choose to stay for whatever reason.
But I do think there are dark entities that can trap people in like those places, like those large asylums, because I hear that a lot, where they're crying for help, and they'll be quiet when some kind of other energy enters, and it almost feels like they're keeping them there, and I don't know how those rules work. But
So do you think that there's maybe like, for lack of a better term, demons
right, there could
that
be
can
a
hold
demonic-
someone here in spirit
demonic
form?
force, of some sort, or they're doing it to themselves because that demon is telling them that they are trapped, and they believe that,
Right.
too. So,
And see, it's funny because I use the term dark spirit. I don't use demon at all.
I mean, demons are pretty rare. I think everybody says they have a demon.
habits are hard
We
to
get
break.
that a lot.
No,
We
and
do,
I
and we don't
understand.
deal with demons. Yeah,
But
if
people
I
will say, "Oh, I've got a demon."
Yeah,
We're like,
I've
"Well,
never
we're not the
never
ones you call."
experienced
Because
that.
I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, I know.
Haven't watched too much Zach Bagan.
Exactly. And
Well,
that's it.
and yeah, he's got a lot of controversy, but he really would provoke in the very beginning, and he had an attachment that took a year for him to get it off of him. And He provokes a little bit now, but nothing.
Yeah, no.
And
He
he'll
doesn't
tell you
hardly
it's messed up his
investigate anymore.
eyesight.
Yeah.
It messed him up.
I remember I first watching the show when they first came out, and I liked them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, everything they investigated was evil.
I know,
everything.
everything.
And I said,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I don't believe in that.
And I
You know,
really
I
hate it.
didn't
Like
believe in it.
Octagon,
So I-
we were
yeah,
talking
I
about.
turned it off.
And we've been to Octagon, I can't tell you how many times, and never have felt anything
Never.
negative.
If
Some
anything, I
strange
feel-
activity.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've had some
100%.
strange-
There's some weird stuff.
But I
going
feel
on.
more of a peaceful.
But
I'm never
no.
feel anything negative.
But
at
now people are
Octagon.
posting videos.
I
The
could sleep
demon
there
of
with
Octagon.
No problem at all.
But yeah,
Yeah.
not a problem. But no, don't do it in November because it's very cold.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Even if you're laying next
He'll-
to the
he'll-
heater, it's very cold.
Yeah, he's only got the one heater in the dining room.
Yeah,
Cold,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. That was torture night.
Yeah. That was the scariest
I
part
had
of
one
the
pretty
night.
good. Me and my wife, she was with us. We went to. You guys ever been to Perryville Battlefield
Yes.
State Park? We did that one time.
Did you hear the cannons?
Yes.
Yep.
We did.
That's
we went
cool.
to. I don't remember which house it was. The Bottom's house or one of
Yeah.
them. But the house wasn't there anymore. It burnt down in the
Yeah.
80s. We had a spirit box going. I can't remember the paranormal group was with us. I think it was Central Kentucky or something like that. It was like 2:00 in the morning. We had, they gave us state park. We
Yeah.
had permission, and we were out there, and we had the spirit box going, and we were talking to them. We said, well, who's here with us? You Confederate or Union? And come out clear as day, Confederate. How many are here with us? And they said 8. And what's your name? Christopher. Clear as day.
Wow.
And I was just starting doing this stuff then. I didn't have
John, on that note, has anybody ever caught what they thought was communication from a UFO?
Some people claim to have gotten telepathic communication from them.
Okay, telepathic. Okay.
Yeah, and of course they got a thing going on now. Some people are into called CE5. It's where you actually get a group of people together, go outside, and you actually think about it
I
and try
wanna
to
do that.
contact, get them to come to you.
Yeah.
They call it CE5. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Have
that's-
you done that?
No, but that stuff like that, if you get a group of people out there that they're wanting to see something. They want to see it so bad that anything they see out there is going to be a UFO to them. They're not going to look at it realistically and say that's probably an airplane. No, they want to see it so bad it's a UFO.
Yeah.
And the Kentucky MUFON, I talked to them. They went out and investigated a place like that a couple months ago, where the guy was telling me he can contact them, and they keep coming and say, "So we got to see this."
Right.
And they went out there, and everything I saw was explainable.
Yeah.
The guy said, "This, you see this moving?"
Yeah.
And they couldn't see it.
Same with ghosts.
Yeah,
On
exactly.
our tours. Yeah, they expect to see everything's
That's why
scarier.
that's why I was asking you guys.
Yeah.
The paranormals. Is so people go in there, so hyped up, and the
Yes.
expectation of seeing something, wanting to see something so bad, and they all, people walk in and say, "Well, it feels heavy. I feel this," but do they actually feel it? Is it just in their head because they want it to feel it?
Lesla just had her shoulder touch. You all saw I didn't touch her.
Seriously, you didn't
I
touch
did
me?
not touch you.
It was like this.
No. I
Swear to God.
Carson's got a
All
long
right,
arm.
Carson, who'd you invite in? Maybe we'll get an EVP.
That's why I turned and looked at you.
There's a chair
Wasn't
right
me.
there. Have a seat and join us. That's really weird.
That's really weird. That's
Sorry
why
to
I looked at
interrupt.
you like that. I'm sorry. That was, I swear.
like
Okay,
Did you
well,
just
let's. Is that microphone turned on?
Yeah, turn on the microphone.
It's on, yeah, turn on.
Wait a minute.
Come and have a seat at the table.
I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to turn it way up.
Yeah, and the bee touch is something very
So
rare.
if there's,
in
yeah,
what we do.
I swear to
if
God.
we could all
I
be
believe
very,
you. She doesn't lie to me.
that's good. If we could all be very,
All right.
very quiet for just a minute. Give whatever's a chance.
Did you just touch Lesla?
Say that again.
Did you just touch Lesla on the shoulder? Can you do it again?
I just heard, did anybody else?
I was moving in a chair.
No, I heard a high frequency twice.
I didn't hear it.
Well, I mean in here.
Well, you got the headphones
Just,
on, buddy.
just a little.
Nobody else has
Yeah, what
headphones
else
on.
did you
No,
hear?
Carson, we didn't hear it.
No,
Well-
sometimes you can.
Well, if it was, if it was audio,
Right.
let's do it one more time. Give us 10 seconds. Now I hear the clocks, so that's. Say that again, because I don't hear that what I heard before.
Is there anybody here with us right now?
Again.
Were you in the battle that was close to here?
No.
Yep, I did hear a little knock on that wall behind you. Did you hear that?
I heard it was like.
I got that Necrophonic app on my
Oh,
phone if
yeah.
you guys want to try it.
Yeah, you can try it. Can you speak to us? Yeah, I believe Lesla. That's you have to have somebody with you that you trust. All right, so there are a lot of apps that you can download on your phone to try to get communication. I heard hello. Who did you touch? Can you say her name? That was a little close to Lesla. I don't know, it's a creepy voice.
Well, just because they touched her doesn't mean they know her name.
I know.
So
I've said it a
they
couple
might
of
have been
times. Though,
confused,
right?
you know.
Did someone touch me?
I don't know what that said.
I don't either.
Well,
Sound like it said go away. What's your name?
I thought I heard Daniel.
My name's Lesla. What's yours?
I heard, is this something? Does that say MUFON?
Yes,
I think it did, didn't it?
it sure did.
I said MUFON.
Oh, I just got called. That was
They can read. Whoever they are,
MUFON.
they can read.
Yeah.
Maybe we have some extraterrestrial beings here. Where are you from?
What did that say?
Sounds like somebody's kind of whispering.
Uh-huh.
Can you see us? So that app's kind of based on like the spirit box, where it's kind of channeling through frequencies, and they can use different frequencies to make their own words.
I was wondering how that worked.
Or is that the one with the database? No, because that's
Yeah.
that's got the mix of it. Yeah. I swear I heard MUFON. Did y'all hear that?
As clear as a bell.
Yeah.
That's why I was like,
And yes, and we're gonna everything's
Yeah.
staying here with you, Carson. I'm sorry. you
like, great.
you asked if
You're
we
gonna have a
were
long
going to
night,
have
buddy.
actual ghosts here, and we didn't know that. That was an interesting experience.
Yeah, it was.
that
It
was
was.
kind of cool.
I
Yeah.
know. But yeah, so you're just asking questions to figure it out. I mean, that's all we do, and try to collect those little data points, whether it's visual, audio, touch, smell. You can smell stinky spirits and good smelling
Grandma's
spirit and
cologne,
grandma's
grandma's
cologne.
Yes.
cigars.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I was
So-
wondering when you were visiting Charlie if you would smell the Swisher Sweets.
Right,
You know?
no, I
No.
never did. No.
But we would always, to make sure it was him, whatever he liked the flashlight and the K2. That was his two main things.
The flashlight, so you just turn it off and have it sitting there, and you can say, can you turn it on for yes and turn it off for no, that kind of thing. And we can watch a flashlight turn on and off. Doesn't matter if it's like a mag light. We like to use the mag lights. But push buttons, and it will come on and off on cue sometimes,
So they turn the switch.
They've somehow, and it may not always be the switch. It could be
Don't
on
know
the
how they do
inside.
it.
It's like
Yeah.
they're managing a way to connect that
Sure.
energy.
Well, that's what I was thinking. If
Yeah.
they could do that,
I know.
Because
They
we've
don't need
also
a
had people
switch.
say, "Oh, you're doing that." We'll be like, "Okay, can you make that light brighter?" And it'll go.
Or can you turn
and
it
then
off?
they're like,
Right.
"Oh," I'm like,
Because we're always trying to prove it ourselves. We don't
like-
always believe it either.
"No." It's like the best one though was when we took Michael and his girlfriend out, and the flashlight came on, and she's like, Lesla, flashlight came on. I was like,
Don't ever do it at your house because you're
No.
opening up communication, and you may not know how to close that door again. But if you're interested in, investigating the paranormal, do it out. Do it outside. Don't go alone. Do it outside your house.
and if you hear a knock at your door and you look out there and there's nobody there,
Don't
don't open your
it.
door. Don't, because you're inviting it
And
in.
every haunting is different. That's why it's hard to classify. The activity is different for everybody.
One thing, John, I wanted, because I watched it today, which was so weird, but it was about different years of the hieroglyphics that have been drawn that archaeologists have found. That they have found some that's dated back like 1,000, 2,000 BC
Yeah.
of drawings of UFOs, robot looking.
Yeah, exactly. Uh-huh.
It was real.
In all different cultures.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
That
all
didn't
different cultures.
communicate.
Africa, Iraq, what was another in Southwest Arizona?
Yeah, exactly.
They brought
Mhm.
up. There was another one.
Australia has some.
Yeah, but it was just everywhere they went, they all. Oh, in Egypt,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tutankhamun's father, they think, came from one of the. Just because of the shape of his skull, and
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
like glued to. I was like,
yeah. Mhm.
look. So that was. I wanted to bring that up because that's before BC.
Right.
and
So
they're
this has
finding
been
all
going
this
on
stuff.
forever.
So,
People have
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah,
The,
it's like,
ancient
experience.
astronaut theory, yeah.
right.
Yeah. So it's, gosh, I mean, personally, the way I look at things right now, like, you guys ever heard of Göbekli Tepe?
Mm-hmm.
And it's in Turkey. And that's recently, it's dated 12,000 years ago. And it's these giant monoliths that are carvings in them. And 12,000 years ago, the world was supposed to be the highest culture that they had was hunter-gatherers. They didn't build structures. They hunted,
Right.
and they gathered food, and they moved on. That's all they did. They didn't build a place to worship or anything, stay and live there. They moved on to where the food was. And this is 12,000 years. And they've got, they got these drawings, of animals in the rock. They're 25, 30 feet tall. And there's different animals in there. There's people, figures on there, people with belts on, their hands crossed in front of them. 12,000 years ago. This is way before Egypt.
Right.
Way before.
Right.
And they can't. And they said they've only unearthed probably 5% of it. There's several more around that area. And the strangest thing about it wasn't destroyed. It was purposely buried. They figured out somehow it was they purposely buried it for some reason.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, this thing today was kind of like blew my mind a little bit.
yeah, good. All the ancient cultures have stories of their their founding father, their gods,
The sky
coming
gods.
from sky gods.
Sky
They all
gods,
they all
yes,
came
they
from the
talked
sky.
about the sky
Right.
gods. and-
All cultures, their ultimate being has come from the sky.
And they
Every one of
received
them.
their technology
Yeah.
from the sky, that all their advancements.
Were the
they
glyphs
say.
on that monument carved in or painted on? Or
No, they're carved.
They're carved,
They're carved on.
They're
and-
huge T-shaped monoliths.
Yeah. Some are what's that kind of relief? Some where the outside
Base.
area was.
Base relief?
Yeah, they carved the outside of it so that instead of carving into it, they carved the outside of it. They had their figure.
So it pulled it forward.
Yeah, yeah. That's the way most of them work. I mean, they've had those animals in there. They figure that don't even live there in that area.
Right, how did they
And
know?
engine that area of Turkey.
This reminds me of something I just read about the Nazca lines in Peru. That new imaging is finding more intricate images within the lines.
You mean like the monkey and all that? or-
Yeah,
Yeah.
the hummingbird and
They're
stuff.
finding more inside
More-
that image?
More within the lines themselves.
Wow.
And they're all they are is rocks that have been gathered.
And who can do that on the ground and know what that makes?
No,
That was
no,
done
you can't.
from above.
Yeah, that has to be.
I mean,
done.
yeah, unless
Right.
you're a genius at mathematics and
Right.
measure all this stuff out, it's almost impossible. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For miles.
And to last this many years.
Right.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a question for you for the UFOs. The Black Knight satellite. Are you familiar at all with that?
No, I'm not.
Have you heard of it? Or?
No.
It's a satellite that's been, and there's pictures of it. NASA has pictures of it, and it's not a round thing or a. It's a. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Look it up.
The
And
Black Knight satellite.
The Black Knight, KNIGHT.
Okay.
Satellite. Supposed been up. It's going around. I don't know which retro or I don't know where I don't know the direction that it's moving, but it's been with us, they say, for thousands of years. Thousands of years. And it's then somebody asked NASA, well, why haven't, if it's in orbit around our Earth, why haven't you gone and do that? And just, was it last night or this morning, an astronaut that is not an astronaut anymore, he's an old guy, he said yes, he knew about it. We haven't been to it. They wouldn't let us go there. But the other side of the world, he said, has been there to this Black Knight thing. Look it up when you go home. There's pictures of
It's
it.
interesting.
Wow. Yeah.
They say it's not giving any signals, but they think it's listening, watching.
Very possible. Much like the dark side of the moon.
Right.
We've never seen the dark side of the moon.
Right.
And we see one side of the moon
What
the whole
could be?
time.
Yeah. What in the
Right.
world
All the
could be?
time. And so the government, you trying to tell me NASA's never sent a probe on the dark side of the moon? China just did. I doubt it. They can send a probe on outside and never have to tell us anything because we wouldn't know the difference because the common person with a telescope can't see it.
Yeah.
It's impossible because and that's what's so amazing about the moon and the Earth, how you only see one face of the moon 24/7.
Right.
You never see any, just that one part of the moon. Everything's so exact. The timing of the way the orbits and everything are, you only see one side of the moon. Never see the other.
Have you heard it ring?
They said it does. They said it could be hollow.
I've heard the recordings.
Yeah, have you? Haven't
Yeah.
heard it yet. Yeah.
It rang for several hours at one point, the second time they did it.
Yeah. I think I know a lot more about the moon than they're telling us.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
I mean, it's
think
our
there's-
closest celestial body. Oh, yeah, they got
But
to.
it's so necessary.
Yeah.
If we didn't have it, we wouldn't be here.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
That's
Controls
wild.
all the tides and,
Yeah.
My brother was with. Well, maybe I shouldn't say this. Somebody's brother.
Of course.
Too
That
late.
part out later.
Some other person's brother would have, when he was in the Air Force, he'd come home and he'd talk to Dad about things that he would never talk to even Mom or me or other brother ever. And he said, Dad, the things that I know would scare your pants right off of you. And he took that to his grave, and Dad took it to the grave too. And he had many talks like that. And Dad said, I can't, because I was sworn, I don't know if he told Mom or not those things that Phil learned about, that my brother learned about.
I've never been afraid of anything like that, ever.
No?
I'm just more curious than anything.
Yeah, me too.
That's why I am too. I mean, if there's a UFO landed block down, I'd be the first one there.
I know, right?
I would. I'd be
Yeah,
right
me
there.
too.
You know?
I know.
Well, and that's...
I'd be right behind you. Say, go, John.
Well, and that's
You
why
go
Dad...
first, and then I'll see how it turns out for
If you
you.
get sucked up where
Yeah, we'll go the other way.
yeah.
I'll call 911.
Yeah.
I won't just leave you.
And that's why Phil told Dad and not Carson. So, and I've been blah, 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 blah.
Right.
All the things we
The
could have known
radio
by
show.
now.
I know.
I've heard some things in my headphones when I'm plugged into here. Not you all, but I've heard noises that I couldn't really explain. But being an electronics nut, I just put it off on, well, there's a cap going bad, and then when they go, capacitor going bad, when they go bad, they kind of squeal a little bit before they go out. And I thought, well, that's just a cap going bad. And it's I'm usually up here alone, and it's nice being here with everybody on a Sunday evening with live bodies.
Yeah.
My question is, do you ever lay it down? Do you ever let it sleep? Either you or the paranormal
Not
folks.
work on the paranormal
Yeah,
no. It's like part of us at this point. It's 24/7. I mean, October we're busy because that's when everybody wants us to do things and talk about spooky things. But yeah, we're pretty much 24/7. You can't get enough knowledge and something you're fascinated about. I mean, it's our hobby. So yeah, it's hard to put it down. We take very few vacations from it, but yeah, I mean, it's always in the back of your mind.
Well, my buddy Jim down in Texas is eating this up. He says
yay.
they're listening to us, so apparently the internet feed is working pretty good.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
good.
Excellent.
I couldn't pull it up this morning, so
Yeah, do you ever stop thinking about UFOs?
Oh yeah.
Do you?
Well, it depends. Like for Indiana MUFON, I'm being a state section director too. That's like one of my titles, and I stay busy trying to get like stuff like this together, or like for get speakers for have a public meeting in different places. Mm-hmm. Like it was in June. I got Ray Zemansky. He's an author, UFO author, and I got a Zoom meeting with him for a place in Indy, and he did a Zoom meeting with us talking about his books.
didn't he write? I just bought one of his books.
Yeah, he's got 3 or 4 of them out.
Name one of the titles, and I can't think of something about it.
Swamp Gas My Ass.
That's it. That's the book I wrote.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I've
the
got
book
a
I
picture
bought.
I would
Yeah,
entitle that too.
he worked at Wright
Swamp
Patterson.
Gas My Ass.
He
I
worked at
love
Wright
it.
Patterson for like 40 years,
Wow, yeah.
and he's got 3 or 4 different books out. He's written.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, so he's pretty popular. And of course, we got our website now. I've never done a website in my life, and I decided we needed a website, so I did that last year. I got us a website and built it myself, my first one. It turned out pretty decent. It's not bad. That's how you got a hold
And I
of
was
it.
going to say, that's why
Yeah.
you're here today, so it works.
Yeah,
It works.
the
It does.
Paranormal Conference in Crawfordsville, 26. That's how they got a hold of me. So
Crawfordsville, Indiana.
there's a paranormal group up there, Crawfordsville, and they're having their first annual convention.
That's cool.
Yeah, so, but then of course I joined DRT team, and I got to sign 2 cases for them while I was here today. So I got to look into those starting tonight or tomorrow. But I get breaks sometimes. Like we're kind of slow. It's like there might be a month we only get 1 or 2 cases, and with 8 investigators, he kind of like spreads them out, shares them, so everybody get a chance to do one. Because there's a lot to fill out in our it's called a CMS, and that's our forms we fill out. Then on the computer, all that information we got to put in there. The longitudes, latitudes, weather. There's a lot of research involved in each case.
Does all the stuff that you record, information wise, like your longitude, latitude,
Yeah,
all
mhm.
that weather, do you all keep that for MUFON in a separate
it's got a
file, or do
database.
you share it with NASA or anybody like that?
Well, there's some government agencies that do have access to it. Yeah, we keep it all in one database. So, and I think right now we've got almost 139,000 cases on there right now.
Wow, that's amazing.
So you're
isn't it?
you're pretty open then with
Yeah, I mean, actually, the general public. I think if you go on the MUFON, the regular MUFON website, MUFON.com, I think they always post the last 20 cases reported, so the public can see them. But after that, we don't, pass the stuff out to the public because
Right.
privacy,
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
right.
So, but different agencies and scientific research are welcome to use the file, go through them and look through it, and try to find correlations. It's like I had written down earlier, like Indiana, this year we've only had from January 1st 50 cases, and the whole year last year we had 131 cases reported to us. So it varies a lot. We average about 6 or 7 a month. So we don't stay super busy, but
now that's Indiana.
yeah, it's just Indiana. Hmm.
Any geographical area more than
Like I said,
others?
usually somewhere around the Indianapolis area, that area a lot more. I guess because of the population, there's more people looking at the sky.
Yeah. That's a big, huge hobby of mine. Where I live, I came from the far west end of Louisville. You couldn't see the sky at
Yeah,
night.
exactly. Hmm.
And when we moved out here, I just stood there
Yeah.
most nights and just, I could see the Milky Way.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, close to Louisville, Sanford Field. I mean, just UPS and everything. It's just constantly planes. Being somewhere out like this, there's a lot less chance of having
right down the
natural
road in
and man-made
Kirby,
stuff coming through.
yeah, in Kirby, the Louisville Astronomical Society has their telescopes and everything set up.
Yeah. Hmm. Far less light pollution, that's for sure.
That's
John, has NASA ever contacted you to correlate something that they've heard that was going on in an area?
I don't know about not me, but probably MUFON. I'm sure they have. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Because I know MUFON's collaborate more with the government about different reports and stuff like that. Because they have of course they have their pilots that are doing the sightings now. That where the Air Force or the Navy, one of the two, has their own place for their pilots to do their reports, and I'm sure they do some correlation between what they've seen and what's reported to the public places.
Do you have any overlap with SETI?
Do work with SETI?
With SETI?
No, I have never done it. No. Mm-mm.
Sorry, search for extraterrestrial
Intelligence. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I think Carl Sagan started them. I think he was part of it in the beginning. I think Carl Sagan started it. One of the ones.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Back in the 70s, I think he started.
Intelligent life is out there.
It is.
Well, I think we.
Don't run into it.
Yeah.
Right? It's just hard
Maybe
to
that's why
find.
they keep flying by. Don't stop there. They're not that smart.
Exactly. Intelligent life's out there.
That's why they bring us
Sometimes
back.
it ain't here, is it?
They bring us back. Get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I always said to my husband. I'd love to be abducted. I'd love to find out if there's actually really aliens. And he said, "Oh, they'd bring you back real quick."
I don't. That's a fear of mine. I don't want to.
I don't want
wanna
to be
be
abducted. No, I don't want to be.
Well, folks, I hate to pull the plug on this, because it's just like every time we do this, it gets meaty and good, and the clock just, says, Carson, we got about a little over 10 minutes. Anybody like to wrap this up? And
I'd just like to say,
What a nice-
Beth and I were talking about it on one of our breaks, how MUFON and our paranormal group, we kind of intertwine,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
even though we don't say, oh yeah, we'll do, no, that's not our specialty, that's your all specialty. But
Yeah.
the way you all research and try to debunk
Exactly.
is the almost exact same way that we research and debunk. So it's the same but different, which is kind of cool that I learned today from you guys,
Yeah.
how you go about stuff. So I really like that.
I had,
Very interesting. I'm really into it.
I had some trepidation too. I didn't know if we were going to get headbutting or.
Oh, no.
Well, no,
There's
no,
something
no.
out there. Yeah.
No, I don't mean that. But still, they're silly ghost people. Well, they could say, little green man. What? But I hadn't heard any little green men mentioned once.
No.
But
Well, that's
Haven't
because they're
seen any-
grays, Carson.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
Right.
Like the old saying goes, I think great minds think alike,
Yeah.
open minds think alike.
Right,
Exactly.
too.
We've all got the
exactly.
open minds. So.
Yeah.
Right,
I got,
right.
I got to go back to what Mr. Einstein said, and I'm paraphrasing him. Be careful about the UFOs. Be careful because you don't know what you would be meeting.
Right.
If they come here, they don't come on ships. They come here through time. And we're here, we're slugs, we're worms as far as intelligence, and they're up here. He says, I would not encourage meeting, so.
I don't want to be a worm. I'd rather be a dragonfly. Thank you, Carson.
Or a butterfly.
Or
you
to
have
be
to
a
go through a
beautiful
worm to get
dragonfly.
to a
Why do I got
Yes,
to be a
metaphor.
gross worm?
More emphasis.
Well, the only thing I can hope for is that if they ever do come, that people are smart enough to keep their guns holstered.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're already here.
Yeah.
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 I think they're already
I think
here.
They're here
I really
in all
do.
different forms.
I think that's who the Men in Black are.
Yeah, could be.
I believe in
Possible.
Men in
Mhm.
Black.
That's
Yeah.
just my train of thought, because anytime something, granted it's been in the movies, but
But the Men in Black thing is real.
Men in Black
I'm
thing
sure a
is
lot
real.
of people have told you
And-
that people show up and say we don't be talking about this.
Yeah.
Well, that author Ray Zemansky said he was at the Air Force Base, investigating where somebody said, the alien might have kept the aliens.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy in a car, man sitting over watching them, and he said it scared him.
Yeah.
He didn't know what to
I
expect.
really do think, because they're like, we don't talk about this. So how do we know the Men in Black really aren't from another,
Or they could be.
and coming and saying,
Mhm.
you saw something you probably shouldn't have seen on
Yeah.
an accident, so we're going to do the little laser light that
Mind
Will
eraser.
Smith did to you and pew, 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 erase it from your mind.
I don't think they're going to be hostile. I think if they're
No,
going
I
to do
don't
something,
think they're
I
they would have done
kind
it
of
a
feel,
long time ago.
yeah,
I
exactly.
don't think they're
waiting
hostile.
around for us to get enough intelligence and enough
never
firepower
have
to make it a
enough.
good fight.
Right.
They wouldn't
right.
wait for that.
No,
No,
we
they'd
would
take us out in a
never
heartbeat.
reach that level.
If they
No,
wanted
they're
to.
waiting for us to become intelligent.
Yes,
They're gonna be
exactly.
waiting a long
Probably,
time.
yeah.
Breeding each other.
These people ain't smart
Right,
enough to
right.
interact with, so just wait.
Right.
Just
Yeah,
leave them in
you're right.
that little fishbowl over
Yeah,
there.
Exactly.
We're like the mice in the maze.
Yeah, we have. I'll mention we have a couple of big things coming up. First time investigating Henderson County Library. It's in Henderson, Kentucky. It's old. It's built pre-1900. Sits on the Ohio River. And they've had experiences for years. So they're curious as to what's going on. Excuse me. So we're going to have a public ghost hunt where we're going to do a little serious paranormal science presentation. We talk about the tools we use and, the science behind what we do. And then we're going to do a little public ghost hunt at the library. First time they've ever had that. Excuse me. And then what else are we doing?
Carter Caves,
Carter Caves.
first time.
In Olive Hill, Kentucky. Big cave system. Histories dating back from, Revolutionary War, There's a lot of history and a lot of paranormal reports in that park. So we're going to get to walk people through the caves from 10 to 1. That's October 19th.
Then we have
Half price books. We're
Yep.
going to do a storytelling event of all of our creepy stories that we have not caught on camera, which are always the scariest because stuff happens.
and I swear
When you're
they
not
know when we
filming.
don't have the stuff on
Yeah.
because that's when it happens.
And then Lebanon Junction Library in Bullitt County, we're going to do an investigation there. They've got a lot of activity claims over the years, so they're very curious about what's going on. So all these are brand new places to us. So we'll find out how they interact with us. They don't know us.
And are these on your website?
Yes, on our events page on our website.
And again, the
Join
website
us.
is.
SiriusParanormal.com.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I think the only thing Indiana MUFON has coming, I think we're trying to get a public meeting together in November, but we're not, just waiting to get a date hammered out. So I think it's sometime in November. We're supposed to have a guest speaker from California, an author from California, doing a Zoom meeting with us. But if he does, when I find out the date, I'll put that on either our website, which is MUFONofIndiana.com, or it'll be on our Facebook page or Facebook group. It's just called Indiana MUFON. I usually post it all on that in the website.
That'd be pretty cool to go see.
Anyone wanting to know these URLs, these websites and things can contact me. We'll have that information here, right? That we can
Yeah.
give them out to. Okay.
Yeah, and also on the website, I have Indiana MUFON T-shirts on there and hats I sell.
And everybody here,
Since MUFON is all volunteer group, none of us get
Yes.
paid. It's all volunteer.
We don't get
Yep.
paid either.
Same here.
Yep.
well, this gentleman was so kind to send me 2 boxes of hats, just like that. Guess who left them at home?
Awesome. Gorgeous.
Oh, Carson.
I know it.
That's okay. He knows your address.
No, I don't. I need a mailing address, and I'll get them out to the guys.
Yes.
I wore one down to the bank,
Did you?
and she says, "Is that?" And I said, "Yes." Because I'm not a hat wearer, much of a hat wearer, and she
love
just thought that
hats.
was so cool. Yeah.
I got a bunch in the truck outside.
I'm a hat wearer.
You've been
And that's cool too. I like that too. I like your new design.
Have swag.
Swag.
We don't get paid for what we do, but
Exactly.
Swag.
do it for
We do it 'cause we
cause.
enjoy it.
Do
Yeah,
it because
we
we
do.
enjoy
Try to find
it.
answers.
And we
there's a-
like helping people because
Yeah.
these people who have these experiences don't know where to turn. The police really aren't going to do anything. Who's going to help you? So.
Well,
Who are you going to call?
I know who.
Series Paranormal
And move on.
or MUFON. Only if it's not normal flying objects.
Right.
There you
Yeah.
Normal
Not
flying
UFOs.
objects.
go. Not normal flying
Yes.
objects.
Thank God for
UAPs, right?
yeah. Thank God for spouses who understand. Huh?
No, right. Yeah.
Almost
exactly.
like
Yes.
spouses of musicians. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
anything you're passionate about.
Well, this is Carson. Y'all like to give your names as you go around the table there, guys, and who you're with.
Ed Crockett.
Ed, who you with?
He's with
Ed.
Mark.
I'm just with Mark.
Jennings.
Mark, no, Ed has done. Ed has been on a few of our projects, and I've got one coming up again too,
Okay.
real soon.
I was
And
the
it,
voice of Marley's ghost.
yeah, you were the voice.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
He came by himself. He's hoping he goes home that
Yeah.
way too, right? Said you came by yourself and you hope you go home that way
Yes,
too, right?
yeah. So whatever touch Lesla,
Yeah, I'm gonna
when you
be
walk out, you
saying,
say you're not
"Don't
allowed to
come
go.
home."
I know that's weird. Yeah.
All right, Ed Crockett.
I'm Marc Jennings. I've been working with Carson off and on in a freelance in a freelance career, I guess.
Probably, well, that was at that place
Going back
that
to
smelled
right, going back to 1982.
Yeah, well, this is our 25th
Oh my
year here.
Yeah, we worked the North American International Livestock Expo together.
Oh.
Carson shot it, and I wrote about it.
Ah,
Very cool.
interesting.
Yeah, in my other life,
And
photographer.
Ed tagged along with me. We're high school buddies.
We enjoy having you up here, Ed.
Oh, thanks.
I was hoping you could make
Never
it.
done it. I thought, why not?
It's great.
And I'm Betty Jo Shepherd, and I'm just a radio person.
Just.
I have a face for radio.
Oh, you have a beautiful face.
You are beautiful, Betty Jo.
She's been with us, with me, and golly, since we've been on the air, I guess.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we met at that one place where we used to work
Yeah,
together.
that one place.
Yeah.
In that one town. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to give them
In that one
a
year.
dime's worth of advertising. They've got enough of it.
All right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't.
And I'm Beth Pinotti, so I'm a founder of Sirius Paranormal. My day job, I'm actually a medical cannabis educator for 502 Hemp and 812 Hemp. That's my day job, help people use cannabis for medicine. And then, yeah, my nighttime job is looking at all things creepy with my best friends.
And I'm Lesla. I'm the other founder of Sirius Paranormal. And hopefully we will see you all out at one of our events. If you come and you've heard it from here, just say, hey, we heard you on WBRO. And if you have any UAP, make sure you get a hold of John at MUFON.
Hello, my name is John Street, and I'm part of Indiana MUFON, the MUFON chapter of Indiana. And I'm a certified field investigator level 3, state section director, and an ERT member, which is something if you've been abducted or anything, you might want to contact MUFON, make a report, or if you see something out there strange you can't identify, try to get some good pictures of it and good video and make a report to MUFON. You can go to MUFON.com, the main headquarters site, or you can go to MUFONofIndiana.com, where we have a link to there where you can report a UFO. Thank you guys for listening. We've had a great time and hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Well, so it's been so nice having everybody here again. I'm buried back here. I got to go like this to look at most of them here. But it's been so nice to see you guys again. I'm glad you all could come down again, or up again, I guess. Yeah. And maybe we'll do this again in a few months.
Yeah.
This would
Love
be
to.
great. This would be
Do it
great.
anytime.
That gives us enough time to get more feedback because I know my email is going to be started. So you've been listening to WBRO's, I don't even know what we call this show anymore. Good times. It's good times. We got some awfully good people that come up, and, for payment, I'll give you a bumper sticker. How's that, guys?
Sounds great.
Okay, well, thanks for tuning in to WBRO's Sunday Night Madness here. I really appreciate the guys coming up. WBRO 89.9 FM, community radio for Southern Indiana and the world at WBRO.org. By golly.
This has been a Nightcast production.